What up, everyone? Today I'm back with another guided tour of a Baltimore neighborhood. Today we're going to be looking at Westport, which is located in the southern part of the city, just off of 295. And I think this is one of the most interesting neighborhoods in the city for a lot of reasons, both good and bad. So this drive starts on Annapolis Road, headed south rather, and this is sort of the main strip for the neighborhood of Westport. As you can see, just from right here, I mean, it's definitely a neighborhood that is sort of past its peak, and although there's a lot of people working to try to get it back to where it once was. At one point, it was a major part of Baltimore's industrial base, but a lot of that base has since left, and the neighborhood that's been left behind is like I said, a very unique one, struggling in a lot of ways. Its population is down to around 2,000 people. And it's really only a couple main streets and then a couple cross streets. Like I said, right now this is Annapolis Road headed south, and we're passing through sort of the main part of Westport. There's a lot of cool architecture. Like you'll see, we just passed that old bank on the left-hand side, and things like that. It's on the one hand sad to see them abandoned and vacant and sort of falling apart, but on the other hand, it's neat that there is still some of that type of architecture left. Now, continuing on Annapolis Road, still headed south, and getting to the top of the hill, and actually coming the other direction from this vantage point, you have a really, really cool view of downtown from the top of Annapolis Road. I'll get to that a little while later and point out to you, we just passed the Westport firehouse, another piece of cool old architecture, and now we're crossing over top of 295. That bridge was recently redone. So now we're back in the neighborhood itself off of Annapolis Road. To the right is a light rail stop, so this neighborhood has really good transportation. Well, by Baltimore standards, really good transportation to the rest of the city because you're walking distance to a light rail stop. And then you're also right next to all the highways with 295 right nearby, and 695 right nearby, and 95 right nearby. Now, I mentioned that the city, or the town the neighborhood is struggling a little bit, and as you can see, there's a lot of boarded up houses, and there's the neighborhood's known for some illicit activity going on because it is so easy to access from all the major highways. There's certain activities that go on, maybe currently going on, that aren't the best for the area. But despite this, the area is known for having like a very strong community because it is such a small neighborhood, and it's sort of isolated from the city despite being right just about downtown. It's kind of an interesting mix. So where it's located, it's actually waterfront on the Patapsco River, and it's one of the few waterfront neighborhoods that hasn't really gentrified and hasn't really gone the way of the Inner Harbor and Canton and places like that. So that makes it sort of an interesting, unique in that regard. So now we're headed out of the neighborhood. This is back onto Annapolis Road, so this will be the same view, different time of year as the video started out with. As you can see, doing that same trip up the hill, up Annapolis Road, the main street of that area. And just a few interesting facts about Westport. As I said before, it's used to be part of a major industrial, the major industrial hub of Baltimore. Part of it was its waterfront location that you can see off in the distance right now. Part of it was its access to transportation that I've talked about. In addition to the highways and light rail, there's also a lot of heavy rail. The B&O Railroad passes right near Westport, so that's another thing that made it an important part of Baltimore's history. Now, one of the biggest things currently that's going on is because it is waterfront, it's attracted the attention of a lot of developers and people looking to do some urban renewal, which is good and bad. On the one hand, there's a lot of underutilized space. Just for the record, we're headed south on Annapolis Road now. given a different angle just to kind of show the architecture and show what the fronts of the houses look like, some of the shops and things like that. But going back to the urban renewal situation, right now there's competing proposals for the waterfront area. So the way Westport's set up, you have the old neighborhood, and then between the old neighborhood and the waterfront is where there used to be a bunch of old industrial stuff, including the Westport Power Station, Westport Power Station, and some other warehouses and transportation facilities and things like that. So that's all been demolished. So you have this big strip of land that's right on the waterfront, and there's competing proposals for what to do with it, how to make it better, and I guess the real question is going to be, how are they able to integrate the existing neighborhood that could use some help and could use some investment? Are they going to be able to integrate that into the new waterfront development, or is it going to be kind of one of those starting over situations? Unfortunately for the residents of Westport, most are renters, which makes it more likely that it's going to be kind of one of those clearing out and starting over kind of situations. Although, because of the interesting housing stock and stuff, I think some of it might be salvaged. But like I said, there's interesting housing stock, but a lot of it is in pretty rough shape. So it remains to be seen where houses like these will go in the event of a high dollar, expensive, fancy renovation of the area. So now we're turned around, pointed back up Annapolis Road again, given the side view just to show some of the local businesses and what the fronts of the houses look like. One other thing that's happened fairly recently, I think 2014, was not far from Westport, the Horseshoe Casino was built. I don't know if it's officially in Westport or if it's next neighborhood over, but that's had some impact on the area, both good and bad. On the one hand, you have extra money coming in, some of it that's directly being set aside for Westport and the surrounding neighborhoods. On the other hand, I guess some people don't like living next to a casino, understandably so. And last but not least, I don't know if we're quite to it yet, but there's a firehouse again. It's a neat looking building. Last but not least is Westport is also actually we got two more things. So right now we're headed out of Westport towards Cherry Hill, and you'll notice shortly that this road kind of winds around the waterfront towards Cherry Hill, and there's a really nice park, Cherry Hill Park, that is going to be on the left-hand side of this video shortly. And just now, off in the distance, you can see the downtown skyline of Baltimore. So that gives you an idea of how far you are. It's not far at all from downtown. Anyways, we're winding our way through. Like I said, headed towards Cherry Hill at this point. So off to the left is where you'll start to see Cherry Hill Park. This is a big park, and like I said, it's a really nice one. It's kind of underrated because of where its location is. It's sort of seen as being in Cherry Hill and Westport are not necessarily seen as being the nicest parts of the city, so this park being in between them is often not thought of as that great of a place, but it's actually it's pretty well maintained, and it's got a beautiful view of the skyline that you'll start to see. There's boats obviously for down in the water, but to me the view is really what sets it apart. It's a view that you don't really get from anywhere else in the city. On the right hand side through those trees you can see the Hanover Street Bridge, and then further over to the left you can see the Baltimore skyline. So it's a neat place. It's close to everything, but at the same time it's sort of detached from the hustle and bustle of downtown Baltimore. So interesting place for sure. This drive, we're continuing up the hill towards Cherry Hill. I forget how far I went, but again, there's the Hanover Street Bridge. That bridge is really cool bridge, but unfortunately it's really old and it's kind of falling apart. And every couple years there's different proposals on what to do with it and how much it's going to cost to redo it. And usually they end up coming up with some band-aid fix to resurface it, make it look better for a year or two, and then since they don't address the real problems, then it starts falling apart again. Now we're headed into Cherry Hill, right near the Southern District police station. And I'm going to stop the drive here, at least for now, because I'll do a different video on Cherry Hill. The last thing I want to discuss about Westport, this right here is driving past it on the highway on 295, headed into downtown Baltimore. So Westport's down on your right, sort of underneath and to the right of these highways. And the waste energy incinerator that you can see right here, that's located in Westport. And there's that's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the city of Baltimore. Everybody sees it passing north or south on I-95. So it's neat that that's in Westport. It's definitely controversial because obviously who wants to have trash being burned in your backyard, and all the downsides of that. You have the particulate air pollution, and you have the stinky trucks driving through all day, every day. On the flip side, that plant is it generates power for 50,000 homes, and it's a way for the city to get rid of their trash without having to truck it 50 miles to Anne Arundel County somewhere. So there's good and bad, and it's definitely an interesting part of Westport's history and a very recognizable part of Baltimore. So anyways, that's about it for today. If you have any neighborhoods you want me to focus on for next time, let me know. Have a couple in mind, and we'll try to get around to different ones in the future. But that's all for Westport, and have a good day. I think, one more thing. This video will continue for about 4 more minutes with just different areas. None of these are specifically Westport, but there are areas right around there, so I figured I'd just kind of tack them on at the end. For example, right now we're headed away from Westport towards Pigtown, and off in the distance you can see the Montgomery Park building. So I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of tack these on at the end. I'm not necessarily going to narrate them because I'll cover them other days, but just be aware that it's not specifically Westport, it's the surrounding neighborhoods. So that's all I got for today.